Good morning. Good morning, good people. Today is Friday. Or as Jordan Darren Hardy says, Friday, everyone. It is about 6 o'clock in the morning here in southwestern Nevada. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. This is Department of Career Services. And we are here to help our students and others on their path through this life. On a 4-part transformational program. So we focus on physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. During the week, we focus on the first 3, physical, mental, and emotional. And on the weekends, we do the spiritual, which is G School. But today is Friday. This is the last day of the week number 3. In our neuroscience-oriented approach to success. This is week 3, day 5. And the thing is Derek Sivers talking about how to make a movement. So it's wrapping up all of the stuff we learned Monday through yesterday. But before we do that, let's see what else we got on our hit parade. On the worksheet. See down below, or on the website, or on Facebook. Actually, the problem is that it's not published. The worksheet is not published until after this. Might have to do something. So our theme of today is what's outside your skull-sized kingdom. What's outside your skull-sized kingdom? Last week, we focused on our inside our skull-sized kingdom. This is what's outside. And let's start with what's advice from an 80-year-old. Lend only those books you never care to see again. That's good advice. And on our scripture commands, today would be Mark 10:45. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. You might say, who are the many? Well, most people would say everybody past, present, and future. But I think if you take the context of what he was saying it in, he was talking about his group of followers. Okay, I'm going to sacrifice myself so that you don't have to. And to give his life as a ransom for many. Not for all, not for everyone past, present, future, but for many. And that would be his followers. Okay, if you take me, you have no reason to expect it's going to continue because things don't continue after the prophet is dead. Whoever he had, it just kind of ends. So I think the many were his disciples and his immediate followers. That was the ransom for them, that we got Jesus. These other people they're not worth the effort. Okay. Let's see, what else? Let's go to decoding the knock-knock situation. So this is Seth Godin. Novels, movies, even consulting are based on a knock-knock business model. Tom Cruise made a movie, and you need to buy a ticket to see it. Jane Collins is an engineering professional, and you need to pay to get their insight on how to fix your bridge. This 300-page autobiography is worth your time to read. The publication or offering creates tension. There's something here, you might want it. And the way to relieve the tension is for the person you're reaching to buy access to it. Huge swaths of our culture are based on this simple approach to intellectual property. The idea comes in a wrapper. The wrapper costs money. The money pays the bills. Mass media was the way creators could spread the tension and announce their work. We're waiting for who's there. It's worth distinguishing these knock-knock offerings from cultural organizations, communities, and tools. In these cases, you can tell the whole story, give away the entire idea, and the IP is worth more, not less. When people around you are all talking about using the tools in Atomic Habits or This Is Strategy, the book becomes a foundation for what happens next. If you're open to signaling up for the blog after you read the book, that's a hint. It's not true for the power broker. Rocky Horror Picture Show isn't like Mission Impossible. At Rocky Horror, the ticket buys you a chance to see a movie you know by heart with other people. Being in the club is where the real value is. Music succeeds when it becomes an anthem. And anthems spread, are played on the radio, and become part of our culture. So it doesn't make sense to say, I have a new song, but you can't hear it. Yes, you need to start with a great piece of music, but the real work is in creating community and ubiquity, Grateful Dead style, not to put your secret recipe behind the doors of a vault. You can see where the tension for creators comes in. Ooh, this is a lot longer than I thought. Okay, never mind. Never mind. All right. Okay, let's talk about what's outside our skull-sized kingdom. We've kind of been talking about it all week. What's outside our skull-sized kingdom is other people who think the same thing we think, which is everything revolves around us, my feelings, my desires, my fears, my hungriness, etc. Our skull-sized kingdom is just that. It's our kingdom within our skull where everything revolves around us. And when we look outside our skull-sized kingdom, we notice there are other people who feel the same way. Everything revolves around them. The trick is, how do we get those people to do what we want in a positive way, not in a manipulative way, in a positive way? How do we do it? How do we do it? So there's many ways. It's like, how do you bake a cake? Well, there's a lot of ways. What kind of cake? So here, how we do it is a positive way. And the easiest way to do it, the best way to do it, is to start with David Logan's advice: join a tribe, nudge it forward. Because when you're nudging, you're getting people to do what you want, right? You're gently directing them. I don't think it would be goading, but maybe slight goading. You're trying to get people to move forward in a direction you want them to. That's David Logan. Seth Godin then adds to that, well, here's how you nudge. Here's how you get them to act. And he has a 4-step formula. Find something to change, tell a compelling story, connect the true believers, ignore the non-true believers, and lead them. And then the next day we had Simon Sinek talking about, how do you tell a compelling story? And it's very simple. The story is about why we need to change the status quo. So step 1 for Seth Godin was find parts of the status quo to change. Well, the compelling story is why we need to change it. And it's generally fear or greed. Here, our approach always goes towards the greed side, not the fear. The fear would be, here's what happens if we don't change. That's what that means. Here's what happens if we don't change. Let's change the status quo because it's going to be better for us. That's the greed. Let's change the status quo because if we don't, it's going to get worse. Fear and or greed. Okay, so that's Seth Godin or Simon Sinek. How do you tell a compelling story? Well, you're talking about why we need to change the status quo. Why we need to change the status quo. And then the next day was kind of like the booster rocket, David Phillips, saying, okay, well, before you tell the compelling story, tell another story first. Before you tell the story, tell a story to start bonding with people so that they see the world the way you see it. And if people see the world the way you see it, when you tell a compelling story, they're going to be compelled. They're going to do it. And then today is Derek Sivers just demonstrating that in a short little video, short little TED Talk, where the scene is perhaps there's a bunch of people laying on the grass, and there's music going on in the background. Maybe they're at a concert in the park or something. So there's people listening. One guy gets up and he starts dancing this crazy dance. And then another guy gets up and he starts doing the same thing. And then more people join and more people, and pretty soon virtually everybody has joined this thing. And so Derek Sivers deconstructs it with the David Logan Join Tribe. There's a bunch of people sitting around watching a concert. Nudge it forward. Hey, let's not just sit on the grass. Let's dance. And then we switch over to the Seth Godin view of that. So what's part of the status quo to change? Well, we're just sitting here on the grass. Tell a compelling story. And this is a nonverbal story, and it's compelling. Why we need to change the status quo? Because it's more fun to do this other thing, which is all nonverbal. It's just out there doing it. People can say, "Oh yeah, and then he brings people up. That's the third step. Who's with me? And he ignores the people who don't want to come up. He just focuses on the people who do. He'll dance with them a little bit. Then they'll go get more people. And Derek Sivers breaks this down in a different way to look at it from the perspective of the leaders or the people. So the shirtless dancing guy is a lone nut at first. And so he says, you need to have the courage to be out there on your own. Then he gets his first followers. They turn him from a lone nut into a leader. What happens now is he's just doing his thing. They're the ones that are going, enticing other people to do it. So they are leaders in their own different way. The leader is always just doing his thing. The first followers are out getting more people to join it. So that wraps that whole thing up. We've got 2 more days, the weekend, to kind of seal it, solidify it. But that's how you do it. That's what you see outside your skull-sized kingdom. Other people who have their own journeys that they're on, but we want to encourage them to come with us. Is the theme of this week. Now, do we all have to be leaders? No. Derek Sivers shows we can be first followers. We can find somebody who's a lone nut, and he tells you how to be successful at that. You can be a first follower. You can be a follower. For our purposes here, we're trying to answer the 2 fundamental questions. Who am I? Why do I behave the way I do? And if I can answer those questions properly, I now have the ability to dial in who I need to be right now. And thus, my experience of life will be better if I can do that. So I'm not rudderless. I'm not subject to the winds and the et cetera of others. Okay, so that's 14 minutes in. I think we covered the whole thing. Diana, wherever you are, hello. Miss Trinkle, good morning. Miss Trinkle, wherever you are. Atticus von Atticus is doing his typical thing, which is inconsistency. Consistency, I would say, people, the takeaway, the bonus for today is consistency is key. Be consistent. Enable people to depend upon you. Okay, with that we're going to say and cut. And cut.